The inquiry into Canada's worst mass shooting continues today in Nova Scotia. The Mass Casualty Commission, for the past 2 days, we have heard the commission focus on the gunman's violent past, particularly toward his neighbors, his clients, and his family. Today, the committee is looking at the abuse that his common-law spouse endured, and Catherine Tunney is on that story. She's live in Halifax. What are we learning about this relationship, Catherine?
Well, Heather, as you said, today's documents are going to zoom in on that relationship between Gabriel Wortman and his common-law spouse, Lisa Banfield. They had been together for 19 years, and those documents, once they're tabled, are expected to be quite detailed. Now, that being said, a lot of the information has already been reported on. That's because Banfield gave interviews to police after that mass shooting back in 2020. And she described a man who was uncontrollable, an alcoholic, alcoholic who would fly off the handle. She also told police about the physical assault that she endured, including one situation where she said that she was on the ground and he was choking her and punching her. Now, yesterday, we did hear from a neighbor, her name is Brenda Forbes, who said that at one point, Banfield did come to her for help. Take a listen.
She was scared, really scared. And I offered help and stuff, but she wouldn't take it because she was just too afraid. She was worried about what would happen with her family, like if he'd have to go after them, but she was definitely afraid that he would come after her.
So as you can hear, Forbes describing the fear that Banfield had towards her partner. And, in the interviews that she gave to police, she did say that she never, went to authorities to report his behavior.
We haven't heard from Lisa Banfield since the shooting, Catherine, but she is scheduled to speak on Friday. A lot of anticipation, I would imagine, about this testimony to come.
Yeah, it's expected to be a very emotionally charged day. As you said, we haven't heard her, tell her story in her own words, only through police interviews, kind of transcripts. So we'll get to, put a face to words. That being said, she won't be cross-examined. The commission's saying that's because, she's a victim of abuse and they don't want to further traumatize her. But that hasn't settled well with the families. They want a chance through their lawyers to ask her questions. She, of course, was the last person to see Wortman alive. Before she herself escaped and had to hide in the woods. So it's expected to be very emotional and expected to be a day to watch for sure.
Catherine, thank you very much for today and looking ahead to later in this week. That's Catherine Tunney there from Halifax.